Teachavision is brought to you by
Hi, this is Maureen from InsightAble Puzzles. Puzzles designed with the blind in mind. Raised lines, shapes, textures, and sometimes braille can be used as clues to piece together a tactile jigsaw puzzle, born of your patience and persistence. Whether you're a new or a seasoned puzzler, there is a puzzle that's just right for you. Explore my website, InsightAblePuzzles.com. That's InsightAble, and discover the fun of completing a puzzle by touch alone.
The opinions expressed on Teachavision are solely those of the guests and hosts and do not represent other companies or third parties. Thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome to Teachavision, a podcast by Screenless Allies, where everyone has a different vision of learning. And now, here's your host, Jose Briceño.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Teachavision episode number 59. Thank you for those that are listening to this podcast. And remember, please tell your friends, please tell everyone that you know that this podcast exists. And we invite you to check out screenlessallies.com for even more content. Contact information at the end if you want to get a hold of us. But today, we are going to continue things regarding the convention held at the National Federation of the Blind this year in New Orleans, Louisiana. This time, we bring you an interview with a very familiar face. If you listen to the beginning, that little advertisement, that is the person that is coming back. Maureen Handworker from InsightAble Puzzles comes back with us to tell us what's been new and what she learned this year at convention. On this first part, we pretty much just have a random conversation about how convention went and, most importantly, food. All that and more right here on part one of this episode of Teachavision by Screenless Allies. Miss Maureen, welcome back to the podcast since last year. It's been a while. Thank you for coming up again.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on again, Jose. Good to talk to you.
It has been a minute, and as of this recording, we had come back from New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans, as they say in that area.
Yep.
New Orleans, Louisiana. And, and for the record, just for the listeners, this recording was actually supposed to be done in person. Unfortunately, we were not able to get our schedules to coincide with each other at that point, and something came up for me, and we ended up having to just like, okay, we'll just do it over the phone again. So, and you'll see why. Yeah, and you'll see why in a second. Yeah, it was very short. It was a very short week as well. So, Miss Maureen, so for those, real quick, give me a too long, didn't care to listen to the old episodes version of what you do.
Okay, so I design tactile 3D puzzles for the blind community in hopes to improve like tactile literacy, braille literacy, spatial relations, just cognitive, and overall just providing a low-tech solution to just a recreational, just having fun, just put a puzzle in front of someone, have them put it together, and at the end of it all, have a tactile picture for them to enjoy.
I love that. That's great. That's a great description. For those that want to go check that out, we encourage you to go check out the episodes called An InsightAble Interview. And in there, you get to find out more about who Maureen is and how she started and where she's been. And she's been on tour, except without singing, though. She just went to go and show her puzzles off. So you ever thought about singing one day at some point?
Not in public, ever. I don't even think I would do karaoke. No, I'm not a good singer. I don't dance and I don't sing.
You wouldn't do karaoke. Okay, so no karaoke. But maybe in the shower. How about the shower? How about in the shower?
I have on occasion, but I try not to make a habit of it.
You get out there and you get told, okay, you really got to not sing like that because we heard it and we're like, eh.
Yeah, it's not a gift. I know what my gifts are, and that's not one of them.
Stick to 3D printing, right? That's it.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. So last year was your first convention you went to in Orlando, correct? Your first national convention.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. And this year you went to New Orleans. So what do you think was the difference, or what do you say has changed in your perspective when you went last year to this year?
The difference for me this year was I had some different offerings. So a year ago, I just had my jigsaw puzzle offerings, which are I have like shape puzzles and then I have the layered puzzles, and I still have those. But I also wanted to introduce a couple of other things too and see what kind of feedback I would get from those. So it was kind of nice because for the people that came to my table and experienced it, they would go through maybe the jigsaw puzzles and then I would be able to put something else and something different in front of them and to see what kind of response I would get from some of those different offerings.
Gotcha. Definitely had a bigger catalog now this year. Even your website, you have a bigger catalog from last year as well.
Yeah, and a couple of different kinds of puzzles.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. So what was the overall feedback of this year?
The response was good. I really appreciate going. I mean, I was only there for the first 2 days. That's when we had the art room. And I had a table set up like I did last year. And I think we just in general had more people coming into the art room this year than last year. And so it was busy. And I really appreciated that because I was there for 5 hours each day. And it certainly makes the time go by a whole lot faster if you have people coming to the table and you're interacting with people for the entire time. It just makes the time go by so much faster. So that was really nice.
Obviously, you had a good amount of people at that same table doing the puzzles, and what was their overall reaction to the catalog of this year?
So really positive. Some people, you get a group of people, there's going to be some people that like one type of puzzle more than a different type of puzzle. So some people gravitated more towards the traditional jigsaws. And then some people were more interested in some of the other offerings that I had. So it was just nice to have a variety for different people. And I saw that different people just gravitated to different kinds.
Want honest, non-influenced reviews over assistive and mainstream technology from a blind person's perspective? Check out the Teachability reviews on our website.
In your perspective, what did you learn overall this year?
I think the big takeaway is just that people who are blind or visually impaired can still really appreciate art, and they appreciate being able to learn art concepts through the sense of touch. And not just at my table, but they have a Lego table there, and they had a drawing table, a coloring table. There was a table where they were showing pictures from an art museum, but they were displayed in like thread, so they could run their fingers over the thread and get a sense of how the picture would look to someone who has sight. So just that idea and the art room was popular. And so people were coming in and they were just appreciating being able to experience art, even as a blind person.
Yeah.
So was just.
I think they also had origami, if I remember correctly, from what I saw.
Yeah, and origami too.
Origami.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get at least to the art room itself, and the whole crew from the bonus, me, Edgar, his wife, and then the other two. Alyssa did not come this year, by the way. But we were experiencing, we're like, man, we gotta go. Man, we really gotta go to the art room. Man, we do. We just gotta, after a while, we're like, man, we totally didn't, the third day when the art room was actually gone, I was like, man, we didn't go to the art room. Man, I know, and it's sad, man. I didn't think about that. I'm like, well, we were, we had other things that we planned for originally, and then trying to navigate that hotel was also fun to do as well. So did you struggle as someone who sighted? Did you struggle with navigating the hotel yourself, or were you able to just...
the hotel. Yeah, so last year I did not stay at the convention hotel. I stayed off-site and I came in. This year I stayed at the convention hotel, and what a mad scene. I mean, oh my gosh, there were so many people. And I did kind of joke saying that I had like a 20-minute commute from my hotel room to the art room, which was in the same building, but it was just trying to get on the elevator and through the crowds. And yeah, so it did take a long time. You actually had to plan for it.
So many blind people, get away from me. Not
The elevators just got so backed up. I mean, that was the bottleneck.
Oh yeah. Did you just go down the stairs instead?
When I could, yeah.
There wasn't a stairwell, was there? Or was it just an escalator?
No, they had a stairwell too, but I was up on a pretty high floor, so I wouldn't want to take the stairs all the way up there.
Oh, you don't want to walk up to the 30th floor from the first floor? What?
Going down's a lot easier.
You could then compete with because there's even like stair climbing competitions. You could actually compete and climb a skyscraper one day. Who knows?
Not for me.
You're active, but not that active, right?
Different kind of active.
Yeah, I'm active climbing upstairs, but only a couple of flights, but not 30 flights of stairs.
Yeah, I'd rather climb in the mountains and do a hike than hike up a bunch of stairs.
Well, on the bright side, at least you didn't have to go across the street to the other hotel because there were 2 hotels that were doing this stuff. One of them held the exhibit hall, but to get there, you had to cross the street from point A to point B, and it was a traffic controlled intersection. And that was definitely an interesting little, I didn't have to do that, thankfully, in a way, but I was like, oh, yeah, no, that did not sound like a lot of fun. Next year, it will be held in Austin, so I wonder how that's going to go.
Oh, is that right? I was wondering if they had the place picked out yet.
Well, they don't have the place picked out.
Somewhere hot.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's in Austin. It will be pretty humid, 100 degrees. But you'll get to come down here to Texas and get to see what's all around here, especially the barbecue.
Yeah, I've been to Austin before. It's a great city.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that would be a fun place to have a convention.
In the capital. Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
very interesting, and it's going to be great. So, since we're talking about conventions, did you get to go do or try anything else while you were at convention, or did you just go for the art room?
Pretty much just the art room. So I didn't even make it over to the other hotel. I kind of wanted to, but yeah, I mean, I had a couple of friends with me that came down to New Orleans with me to hang out. So we were really having a lot of fun exploring New Orleans outside of my time in the art room.
You know what? That's okay. It happens. So what all did you get to go see in New Orleans?
Food.
Of course.
Didn't see the food, but I ate a lot of the food. It was really good. I like the menu items down in New Orleans. And then obviously the jazz, that was amazing. So one of my friends has an old friend who lives in New Orleans and has lived there for just a couple of years. But he was able to take us to like some of the areas of New Orleans where the locals go, where the tourists don't necessarily go.
Oh,
and don't ask me offhand what the street names were because I don't remember them now. But
what are the street names?
But it was a really cool cultural experience. Just the music like spilling out onto the streets and just being able to pop into some of the different venues and listening to the music.
We went to Bourbon Street was one of them that we went to while we were there. And that was a lot of fun, just walking around and just hearing all these, different street musicians, jazz bands, bars. I mean, there was just every block you heard music from either side of you. And people were just kind of gathering out there, listening to the music or talking to you. It was really interesting. It was a lot of fun for me doing that as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fun city. Yep.
Getting across there. And then also, the food was really good. You had the catfish. I'm sure you did. Like I said on part 2 of the podcast that we did about the convention itself, the beignets, which, not suitable for diabetics. Just saying. As we said on that episode.
That's a sweet treat for sure.
And I said, I rarely drink coffee, but at that point I ended up having a coffee with my beignet because, man, I left the airport to the airport at 2 a.m. and I was like, man, I need something to keep going. And a funny story on that one was I actually had the flight attendant from the flight that I was going to take to Dallas help me go get the beignets before I boarded the aircraft. So I did not want to leave without having that. And so they had
you ate them on the plane?
Yes, I did, which wasn't... It was not ideal because you had a lot. I had a big mess all over my hands, and
it's a lot of powdered sugar.
Yes, a lot of powdered sugar, but it was so worth it because I was energized for a while. But yes, I had it on the plane, and I had all 3 of them, and they were so worth it. And I'm glad I don't live in New Orleans as well because then I'm sure you can agree with this, friend, that if we both lived in New Orleans, right around the corner of Cafe Du Monde, or any place that has beignets, we'd probably end up there pretty much every morning when they open just to grab us an order.
Yep. That and a cup of coffee, a good pairing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That is a really good combination. So you also had the catfish. What else did you have in there as well, food-wise, apart from the catfish and the beignets?
So like the seafood boil, where they boil the seafood in a bag, but then they put it with like lots of melted butter and Cajun seasonings. That was probably my favorite meal. That was so good. Lots of shrimp. You could get it with different seafood, but the shrimp was my favorite.
I had a place called the Ruby Slipper there. It was a breakfast place. Though I heard the word slipper and I went, I don't know if I want to have that. The Ruby Slipper goes on your foot. I don't know if I want to be having that food from there, but okay, we'll try. No, I'm not being paid to promote, for the record. But we went down to shout out to the Ruby Slipper. But I went down there and I had biscuits and gravy, and the biscuits were about the size of a Big Mac from McDonald's. If you ever, or not the Big Mac, the McChicken. If you ever had that from McDonald's before, it was about that size.
Nice.
They gave you 2 of them, biscuits with gravy. And
yeah, with the country gravy.
Yes. And they were just
the sausage.
Good. I had a chorizo sausage, and that was something I've never had before, and that was really good. It was a little too, it wasn't spicy. It just had that tangy flavor, that you came to expect.
Yeah, chorizo sausage can be a little spicy. I'm surprised you hadn't had that before.
No, I never had it. I've had chorizo before, but not that spicy sausage. But it was also really good, though. It sounds to me like we both had really, really good food at that point.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Teachavision. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to check out previous shows, which are equally informative and fun as this one. Make sure to also check out our website at screenlessallies.com. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/ScreenlessAlliesOfficial. Do you have any suggestions or comments? Why not email us, info@screenlessallies.com. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.